Michael Kang joins me now. He's a professor of law with Northwestern Pritzker School of Law. He's in Chicago. Good morning. So glad you could be with us.
Thanks for having me.
So where to start? What is your reaction to the fact that there are now multiple lawsuits being launched by the Trump team in several different states? And just a short time ago, we saw Corey Lewandowski and the former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi arrive in Philly saying that they have been granted access to watch the voting, or excuse me, the counting take place. What's your assessment?
Yeah, they were complaining in Michigan and Pennsylvania, the Trump campaign was, about not having proper access. They're entitled to observe the counting. I'm not sure what the facts on the ground were, but it shouldn't really affect the vote. They're there as a process matter to make sure that votes are counted properly and are fairly tallied and according to state law. But it shouldn't slow down the count, and we really need to get vote counts in the states that are still outstanding before we have a decent sense about what the next steps are legally.
So when we have the president's team coming out the way we just saw with Corey Lewandowski talking to members of the media, does it just froth up the crowds even more?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that what the Trump campaign is doing with all of these legal challenges is as much political theater as legal strategy. It seems a little premature before we have final vote counts to really be talking so much about legal challenges. And also a lot of the legal claims that I've heard about, at least, seem fairly limited and not all that serious. So I think part of the strategy, at least right now, is to get their supporters stirred up, create some political drama. And I think it feels better to Donald Trump to feel like the champion of the aggrieved rather than the loser of an election.
What's the criteria for a recount?
Well, states often have automatic recounts if the margin is very close. That's true in Pennsylvania. That's true in Michigan. So when the margin is very tight, then they'll automatically do a recount. Often there are provisions where a losing candidate can request a recount anyway, and often has to bear the costs of that recount. Recounts usually don't change things very much. A study of statewide recounts in the United States over the last 20 years found that the average change in the vote margin was something like 200-something votes, 230 votes or something like that. So they matter only really if the election margin is very tight, in the hundreds, not tens of thousands.
In terms of strategy, what do you think it means for President Trump if suddenly things turn around for him and there is still a path for him to victory and his fortunes seem to change and he's doing better? Then what happens to all these lawsuits?
Well, I think if you're the winning candidate, you don't have to engage in a lot of that stuff. I think where you see losses coming, that's when you start to resort to some of these other tactics and fighting the way the election was run, because that's all you can do at this point. The votes are cast, and really the only thing you can do is kind of contest the counting of votes. So I think if he jumps in the lead, he'll feel fine about how the election was run. He'll still probably claim that there was fraudulent behavior and he was cheated out of votes. We know that's true because in 2016, he spent 4 years now complaining about that election, and he won that election. So it'd be surprising if he doesn't do that about 2020 as well. But it definitely changes people's legal posture when you're in the lead as opposed to the losing candidate.
Michael Kang, great conversation. Thank you so much. Glad you could be with us.